my exam got cancelled. I've created this race that doesn't really exist. Kind of an uncomfortable conversation to have, to be honest, but... Good morning, guys. So I've been up since 7:30. Today is Monday. I'm just gonna take you through a day. Every time I try to do this, I always end up working, and then I realized I have just completely forgotten to film. I was just doing work, so we're gonna try again today. So I just woke up, got ready. It seems kind of like unnecessary to get ready, I feel like, but I feel like when I just do a little something, put on my sunscreen, it changes some real clothes, I am a lot more productive as opposed to hanging out in my PJs. 2 days I've been making my own mocha, so I really like peppermint mocha. So I have this After 8 hot chocolate mix. It's from Costco. And I have some instant coffee. This is probably not very healthy because this is full of sugar and fats and but it's okay. Some coffee. So I like coffee, but I can't handle a lot of it. Anyways, it's like a mixed coffee, and I like bringing it because I'll just get a cup of hot water that I'll take with me to school, and then when I get there, I'll have one of these and I'll mix it on the spot, and it just comes with some creamer and stuff. So it's all like nice and convenient. It's also really small. But I leave some of these in my school bag because I need some coffee because Starbucks is expensive, and I don't like paying for coffee, and I don't like spending money in general. So. Not as productive as I'd like to be during quarantine compared to regular times, and so I really want to take advantage of this extra time I have to like really get a lot done, not just in terms of like getting a lot of done research, trying to get a lot of studying done, and then making sure I'm working out and catching with friends and sleeping enough, because there's really no excuse now to be not sleeping enough. But last time I filmed the research vlog with you guys, I made 2 pages of just like plans, and so I've ticked a lot of them off, and so a little bit messy, so I think I'm gonna rewrite it. Hey guys, it's the end of the day. It's midnight right now, and so me and Jamie are releasing a video on failure and kind of bouncing back. I think in a couple weeks. I'm not sure when this is going to be released, but I thought about how in the last couple days I've definitely encountered failure. I took, for example, a practice test for USMLE, did terrible, which was a little hard because I've been studying quite hard for it, and so I was hoping to do a little bit better. And then what also happened is the USMLE actually my exam got cancelled. So because of all the social distancing, they randomly have chosen half of the people taking the test to have their tests cancelled, and so guess who got lucky? That was a little bit stressful, trying to get into the website, get a new date, just coordinating and just talking a lot with classmates about like, what are you doing, what are you planning to write, and then there's all these different factors and advantages about choosing what date. I'm sure some of you guys I hope some of you guys that are writing the MCAT are not facing this stress as well. It's just, I would say like this is such a minor problem compared to a lot of other people's problems that have lost jobs, people work on the front line, and there's like much bigger problems than this. So that's why I tell myself to keep myself in my perspective, and so I'm really good at not letting myself feel the feels because I don't feel entitled to complain when there's bigger problems in the world. But one of my friends whose test also got cancelled says it's okay to give ourselves permission to kind of complain and stuff, and I'm really terrible about that. As much as I endorse vulnerability and sharing and being authentic and stuff, that I really don't like try not to complain too much to friends and stuff, because I don't like to like pass around negativity. I don't want to stew in the whatever's happened. I kind of want to move on. But I really did appreciate having someone be like, yeah, like, you know what, this is your day, vent all you want, complain all you want. I just felt like it was really leaving to feel like I had permission to kind of feel in those feelings that I didn't want to feel because I didn't want to be ungrateful. So that was really nice to just kind of unload because I was stressed out. And I guess to add on to that, the USMLE got cancelled, did poorly in my exam. One of the research papers that I've been working on, I think you guys have seen me working on them in the last few vlogs, I've been like putting a ton of work and working on it for months, and it got rejected from a journal. So I was a little bit bummed, and but like, right away I got myself up and I just found another journal and then kind of revised and submitted it in. But Yeah, that definitely, and so I realized for me there's like two ways of coping with stress and stuff, and so they call it overfunctioning and underfunctioning. So underfunction is when you just shut down and don't want to do anything, and that's very common, and people just want to feel their feelings and they just want to just do nothing and just enjoy. And so there's the other half of people that are, if you're like me, you just overfunction, you suddenly do a ton of things. So for me that's as soon as I instead of just like feeling like, oh, I'm like kind of bummed about not having things. I didn't even let myself feel the feelings. I just kind of jumped on. I was like, let's like make a game plan and revise and resubmit. But really, when that friend let me have a bit of permission to kind of complain about it, I did realize that I was disappointed, and I'm okay with it not going to plan. I put a lot of pressure on myself to be urgent and to be rushed, and so as you guys saw from my How to Be More Productive video, that's something I do on purpose. Like I create urgency and I create deadlines for myself, and I try to like make myself move, and I think that is really helpful. But I also actually slow down a little bit and not always be in a rush. I think today I was feeling a bit overwhelmed, so as you guys know, I was starting off to work on some research and stuff, and then I just felt a little bit like stressed out because I was like, wow, like I have to. So I finished off revising a paper and sending it off, and then something else and then sending them off, and then I would be back to revise them. Suddenly I felt like there's so many things on my plate. I want to get these and these done, and then I also want to be starting something new, and then I want to be doing more for this channel, and then I want to, I like always want to be doing more and faster. And I was realizing from the emails I sent to my team and like as I'm delegating tasks and stuff that I use words like game plan and like pass the baton, and which is really helpful. But I also realized like I've created this race that doesn't really exist, and it's like a race with myself, really. Not feeling really stressed out about it, to remember that this is a race that I created for myself and it's not like a real race. So trying to find that balance between motivating myself to get a lot done and just like keep things moving and get things progressing, but also that balance between learning to step back and realize that I don't have to move all the time. It's definitely something that I'm not good at remembering all the time, that it's okay to like slow down a little bit. Yeah, I guess another thing that was stressful is that I'm not really that type of person that's has always been that good at confrontation, but I just felt like kind of inspired in the last few days to kind of bring up some issues with other people, and yeah, that was kind of scary for me. I wanted to do and was the right thing to do, and it would actually be wrong for me to not say anything or do anything. It's kind of an uncomfortable conversation to have, to be honest. I'm striving to be this like a person who will speak up when it's necessary, be able to ask for things that I think are right, but it's hard. It's really hard. As much as I want to practice it, it's definitely scary. And so if any of you are trying to have some kind of conversation like that, I am proud of you if you are at least thinking of it, if you're taking that first step. I think for me, I'm worrying that it's not gonna have a good outcome. I can only do the best I can, which is at least start that conversation, ask for it, and I can't change people, I can't force people, and nor do I really have that right to force people. I'm only just letting them know that maybe they weren't aware that maybe of the damage or hurt they've caused, and it's not receptive. As much as I want to put judgment, I'm gonna refrain from judgment, say not label them as a bad person, but maybe that's not on their priorities, that's not where they are in their understanding or their ways of interacting with other people, or that's not in their values to do so, to kind of take responsibility for their wrongs and stuff. And so realizing that any of us can only do the best that we can and start conversations when we can't. Outcomes are good, but at least we can start, at least we can say something. So that's where that's at. That's another conversation that I had. I had this feeling that someone was perceiving me incorrectly, but I also, it's kind of a weird thing to kind of bring up and be like, I think you're wrong about me, and I think it's because of this. And so I was like, do I bring it up? Do I not? But I was having a good conversation, and I just felt like the realistically worst outcome is not that they're like, why is this person overreacting? Their most realistic reaction would probably be like, oh, okay, I didn't know that, and then you just forget about it. It's probably a neutral response. Like most of the time, I think most of us don't really think about things very heavily if it doesn't have any emotional meaning to us. It didn't really make us feel sad or angry or really happy. It probably was something I remembered more than they did, and so that's what I went in doing that. And so so that was kind of nerve-wracking. I went in and I was like, hey, actually, like, you remember this time I think this happened and I think you thought this, and I was just concerned that you thought that this made you think this of me. Yeah, I was like pretty nervous about that, but I was like, you know what, let's do it. And then they were like, oh, okay. And then they kind of days after what I did, they're like, yeah, I don't really remember this, but at least that relieved for me that worry about that. And so now I was like, oh wow, I'm really glad I did that. And so I feel more encouraged that from then on, if I am worried about something like that, where I worry if someone misinterpreted something, I think it would be helpful, and I'll feel braver in the future to like just bring that up. We have an upcoming final exam for year 2 med in a couple weeks, and so I like to start studying pretty early in advance so that I don't feel like I'm cramming at the end. I just like to pace it out and see it. So I'm going to study, and then I'll see you guys in a minute. And if I don't, maybe I'll just film this as the closing of the vlog. And I just wanted to give a shout out so much to my friends that are the ones who subscribe to my channel, are watching my videos, and really being supportive. I'm really grateful to have these amazing people in my life that support these things that I do, and yeah, are just nice enough to be subscribing and watching and putting up with my randomness. But I am grateful to have them, and also grateful for them that are helping with feedback and that I really take to heart in terms of trying to improve. So yeah, thanks so much, guys. You know who you are. I am grateful to you.